You might be wondering how we ended up in Orlando. Let's go back in time to explain. We've been in Melbourne for the last 3 weeks, catching up with friends and family, attending some important weddings, and going on the first ever Disney cruise in Australia. But now we're back at Melbourne Airport, about to board a 14-hour flight back to LA to continue our adventures.
We had no plans of exactly where we were travelling to after our return to Melbourne, only that it was going to be via LA.
To take a bit of pressure off our budget, we looked into a few different house sitting opportunities. We applied for a couple and fortunately got accepted pretty quickly.
After such an amazing time on the Disney cruise, as well as an awesome day at California Adventure, it felt like the Disney stars aligned when we got accepted to house sit in Orlando. And so for the next week or so, it's not just me and Stace. In fact, I think it's time that you meet the pets. Bachelorette number 1. She's cute and fluffy and always hungry. While she may greet you with a creepy smile, she's a friendly pup who holds no mercy for stuffed animals. She's Harley. Bachelorette number 2. She's a lean, keen, sleeping machine. She enjoys lazy walks, lots of cuddles, and when she's not hogging the couch in the dead cockroach position, you'll find her chatting away trying to play. She's Meg! And lastly, our feline companion. He's mysterious and loves to play hard to get. He's Toothless.
To say leaving our pets at home was hard is an understatement.
It's so sad. We just said goodbye to one dog, now we're en route to say goodbye to the other 2.
But having the company of these little furry friends has made it a bit easier. So now that we're here in Orlando, we're going to take you to a couple of spots outside the theme parks that you can explore here in Orlando, and we'll show you a bit of what we've been up to around the house while we've been house sitting. Hey Alexa, turn on all lights. Good morning guys, it is bright and early here in Orlando. It's about just before 7 AM actually, which is when the dogs wake us up for their breakfast at our house sit. In fact, they started waking us up about 6:30 and we managed to fend them off until 7. These doggies are desperate to get fed. It's been a great experience so far. It's nice living, even if only for a short period, living somewhere you've not lived before. The neighborhood is so lovely. Every time we walk past someone or someone drives past us or anything like that, everyone always waves and says hello or good morning, which has been really nice. We're having a great time. And now Meg, who is the greyhound, has the funniest personality, and as soon as she's done eating, she likes to go outside to the toilet. Once she's done her first wee, she does her little zoomies around the yard and she just looks like a big lanky horse. Good morning guys from Disney Springs. We have come out on a little excursion today from our house sit to Disney Springs. We're just dipping our toes in the water of the Disney spirit here in Orlando. Don't you worry, we will 100% be going into the parks or a park at some point. But for now, we're just wandering around Disney Springs, taking in a bit of the Disney, bit of the Christmas Disney magic as well. And we might get a bit of a bite to eat of some sort of treat later.
And because the holiday season is upon us, Disney Springs is decked out in Christmas decorations, and what I'm loving are the different types of Christmas trees that we have stumbled across, each with their own quirky, unique decorations. We've seen Star Wars, we've seen Coco, I think I saw a Mickey and Minnie one too. It's just so nice how Christmas spirit can be brought in so many different ways. That was a bit lame, but I really like Christmas. Now, if we've learned anything from previous Disney trips, it's that Stace has no self-control. Most recently at California Adventure, if you haven't seen that video, we'll link it up here. She has no control whether we have a budget or no budget. As you guys probably know, we're on a strict budget, so close your eyes, Stace.
This is such a tease. I just want to be in the parks. We are loving our time at Disney Springs, but I cannot wait to get into one of the parks, maybe later this week.
And guys, we're not naive. I mean, we are about some things, but not about this. We know that Disney tickets are really expensive and that this trip is not going to be the same as what we're used to from previous Disney trips. But we have made a few adjustments to our budget, as well as the fact that we're house sitting allows us to spend that kind of accommodation money on Disney money, which I'm pretty happy about.
Guess where we are?
Stacey.
Treats purchased. I promise the bag is much bigger than what we bought. We just bought 2 things. Last year when we came to Disney Springs, which I think we didn't end up putting up a video of for some reason, I think we forgot, but we went all out and struggled to finish it all. So we've got 2 things this time. We have a fridge to put our stuff in. I'm pretty excited. to try this.
And while we did only get 2 things, let me just say the size of the slice of cake is massive and the cookies are half a pound. I'm very excited for this Gideon's meal. Guys, I said that the cookies were half a pound each. This is heavy. That has to be at least half a kilo of cake, I think.
If you have not heard of Gideons, it is this very popular cookie, cake and coffee shop here in Disney Springs. It is always packed, always has a massive line. We got there about 10:15 this morning. It opened at 10. They'd already shut off the standby line. So what happens when they shut off the standby line is they do a virtual queue. So you can either get a text when it's your turn to go back, or if you're international and don't have a number, they'll tell you to return in like an hour and a half's time. So that's what we did. We had to wait an hour and a half this morning, even though we only got there 15 minutes after opening, but it's very cool. It's very like cool themed, like just very different, and the cookies and cake are amazing.
Oh my god, it's so big. It's huge. So we went with the red velvet flavour with cookies and cream buttercream. That was worth 90 minutes of waiting around Disney Springs. It's good cake.
I have so much cream in my teeth, but the cream is just like so good. Gideons also have seasonal and monthly specials, so each month they'll release what their special cookies are for the month that they'll have alongside their staple cookies and cake and things like that. I believe the cakes change depending on the day of the week. So when we went last year, we went on a Friday and we got the rainbow crunch cake, which was incredible. So before you go, look up the menu online or on Instagram just to make sure if there's something you have in mind that you want to get, that you go on the right day. And we of course had to get one of their famous half a pound cookies. Last year we got the original chocolate chip cookie and a cookies and cream. We prefer the cookies and cream. The chocolate chip cookie is really, really good, but had a lot of chocolate chips, which we prefer not so many chocolate chips. So gone again for the cookies and cream. These things are massive. It's in my teeth, but as good as I remember. It is now the evening and it is time for me to make us a delicious dinner. Well, hopefully it'll be delicious. We're tasked with finishing a lot of our house. The people we're house sitting for a lot of their perishables, so we're just kind of throwing a bunch of veggies in a chicken korma. So we've just got a simmer sauce now. Normally at home we would never buy a simmer sauce. We love using paste, but when you're traveling, paste normally feeds us 2 separate meals, so we'll use it for one big dinner and then we'll use it again. But obviously when we're moving around and stuff, we don't generally go through all the paste. And we also find it kind of just works out a little bit cheaper to use a simmer sauce because we don't need to buy, coconut milk and extra things like that. So we have korma simmer sauce. We've got some chicken to go in it. We've got some green beans. In the fridge we've got some spinach that went off quite a few days ago, but we're throwing it in because why not? We've got some onion. We're just rolling with it. But I'm also cooking a dessert at the same time, and we have a very special dessert. We have elf cookies. Now, for those who don't know, which is probably most of you, I lived in America for about 3 years when I was a little kid, and despite being so young, I have some very distinct memories of random things from my time living in America. And one of them is these Pillsbury cookies. So we're gonna cook some elf cookies, well, I'm gonna cook some elf cookies. Rosh is in the lounge room over there, busy editing away, uploading our videos and things like that. But as Chief Organisation Officer, my role also encompasses cooking the meals. Okay, so first up is these cookies. It just took me about 20 minutes to find an oven tray. It's very difficult cooking in someone else's house where you don't know where anything is, but we found one. Could not find any baking paper, so I don't know, I'm tossing up putting down foil or just winging it and putting the cookies straight on the tray. But let's open this up. Oh my god, they're so cute. Look at them. So they're already pre-cut cookies. Now, okay, so apparently I think these are just gonna expand themselves. I'm a bit afraid because I do not have a cookie sheet, but I might do one last slap of the house, see if I can find one, and then we'll get these in the oven. Okay, we're going with the foil. I couldn't find a cookie sheet and it says ungreased, so I can't even spray it, but I'm chucking down the foil, hoping for the best. It's probably not the ideal solution, but hey, there's probably a lot of people watching this like, what the hell are you doing? But we're making do, guys. So cute. It's hard, I don't know how much these are gonna expand, so I didn't really say anything about spacing. So I'm winging it again, like everything tonight, but we'll hope for the best, and if not, we'll just have one giant cookie. It's not a bad thing. There we go, they look pretty good. Okay, cookies are in the oven, so now time for me to start prepping dinner. I always chop veggies first, chicken last. Just the way I roll. So I've got an onion, some green beans to chop, and because it is a korma, it'll be nice and easy. So just cook the chicken, chuck everything else in, and we're good to go. Okay, cookies are out and cooling down, and I have all my ingredients prepped for the curry now, and I also forgot to put the rice on, which I always do. So rice is now on, ingredients are prepped, and now I'm gonna start cooking the curry. Guys, this spinach has seen better days, but I really don't want to waste it. We didn't buy it, but I feel like if we're throwing it in a curry, it's gonna get soft anyways, so why not? I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
We could die.
We could die, we could. Or we could get really strong. This. Now dinner is just about ready. I've just added the spinach. I won't lie to you, didn't smell like fresh spinach, but it's in there. We don't want to waste it. It was a full unopened bag, so making use of the spinach. Rice is cooked as well. It's a bit runny, I'm not sure why, but we had a bad experience in Florence where I cooked rice and it really burnt and got stuck to the bottom of the pot, and we spent like hours scrubbing this pot trying to get it clean again. So maybe I instinctively added a bit more water, but it smells delicious and perfect way to end this day in our life. We'll try one of our cookies after dinner, and then we'll check in with you at our next spot in Florida.
You've made me very nervous about the spinach.
It'll be fine.
And spinach doesn't taste like it's gonna kill me.
Final product.
Now, Stace and I aren't exactly true coffee drinkers. We drink Starbucks, but I picked up these yesterday. So I'm gonna put them in the pod machine and we'll give them a try. Cheers. Definitely not a $10 Starbucks, but it does the job.
Good morning guys, from another day here in Orlando. Today we ventured about an hour outside of Orlando to come to Blue Spring State Park. Now there are lots of things you can do in this park on the water. You can hire kayaks, I believe you can go swimming, lots of different activities, but we've come to see some wildlife. Now you might be thinking, what sort of wildlife is there in Florida besides alligators? Well, we've come to see the manatees. Now the manatees, I believe, migrate here during winter to Florida because they require the water to be at a certain temperature. So when the waters start getting cooler where they come to Florida, where it tends to be a little bit warmer in the water. Now the manatee count today in the park is 396, so hopefully we'll see a lot of cool manatees.
We're so close so we can hear the manatees when they come up to take a breath of air. When Stace and I were discussing if we should come to Blue Springs, we were talking about the fact that we might see some manatees, but the whole time we were talking about it, I thought that manatee was manta ray. So I thought we were going to come see those like stingray type things, which I was really excited for. But then when I realized that it was actually manatees, the cows of the sea, oh my god, I got even more excited. Now of course, because manatees are mammals, they have to breathe air, and they breathe an average of every 2 to 4 minutes, but when they're at rest, they can hold their breath of between 15 to 20 minutes, which is crazy. And the manatees that we were seeing today are of course the Florida manatees. They're a subspecies of the West Indian manatee, and they are an endangered species.
Now a large reason why they are endangered is because they get caught up in people's speedboats and things like that. So a lot of them that are still alive do carry scars from incidents like that. So that is a big reason why they are endangered. But also you may notice in some of the footage that some of the manatees have like a little boy hanging off the back. What? And this is a tagging. So as with many endangered species, they are tracked and their movements tracked, which helps provide wildlife organisations with information on their movement, and if they do rescue any manatees and want to release them back into the wild, it helps provide them with information on where they might be and things like that. But these tags, because they hang off the back of them, you might be worried about them getting tangled, but they are designed to fall off if they do get tangled, and I believe they're actually designed to fall off after a period of time as well.
I just saw a sign that said, alligators are known for attacking humans, which is great. Like, that's exactly what I wanted to read. I feel great about that. It's really cool here at Blue Springs because there's not just like one viewing spot to try and spot some manatee. There's actually an entire boardwalk, so many different places where you can stop and take a look, see them sunbaking under the water. It's really cool.
So there is this whole refuge area for the manatee which has a lot of different viewing zones, so essentially no boats can go in that zone, which helps obviously protect the manatee. But the manatees can actually go outside that zone. There is a viewing area on the dock, and we found that that's actually a really good place to see the manatee when they come out to have a bit of a feed, because the water is a lot deeper around you, so they actually come up closer to the dock. Whereas in the refuge area and where you're on the viewing platforms, it does get quite shallow leading up to the banks, so they don't really come as close. This is such a good activity if you're looking for something to do outside of the theme parks for a bit of a day trip. Now, it is about an hour outside of Orlando, as I mentioned, so you will need a car. But in Disney World there is a car hire place, I believe it's Alamo, and they will pick you up from your Disney resort, take you to Alamo, get your car, and then when you drop your car off at the end of the day, they will take you back to your resort. So a very easy option for a day trip, and only costs $6 per car to get into the state park. So super cheap option, particularly if you are a family. The manatee can be super easy to spot and super hard at the same time because they really make no noise as they move through the water. And unless they're kind of doing a dive, in which case there'll be a bit of a ripple behind them, you really just have to have your eyes peeled and look for them in the water. The ones with the tags, obviously you can see the tag moving through the water, which is a bit easier, but they're just so quiet, they just appear out of nowhere. Something we definitely recommend doing, which we probably won't do today because we did not come prepared in our being on the water all day clothing, but hire a kayak. We're gonna go check out the prices just to give you the information, but there were people sitting here right where it switches from like the refuge zone into just the open water, and they was just sitting there floating in their kayaks, and they had manatees literally coming right past them, under them. Like, we're super jealous. We may even come back another day and do that because it's just incredible. Now, there are volunteers roaming around the park as well, and they were saying that they check the manatee count, or they count the manatees twice a day. So first thing in the morning, they do a visual inspection before the park opens, which gave them the number 369 as we saw on the way in. But they said the second count has now been done, which is done by 2 people in a kayak, so they're much closer to the water. They can kind of look down on what's under them, and the updated count was 447 manatee.
Well, that was definitely 100% worth it, and a really great option to do something other than theme parks here in Orlando.
We've done 2 big Orlando trips together, and we've always stayed at a Disney resort, and it's very much been a theme park trip, Disney and Universal. But because we're staying not at a theme park this time, and it wasn't really a theme park dedicated trip, we really wanted to do some cool things in Orlando and in Florida outside of the theme parks, and we're so glad this was suggested to us because it was absolutely awesome.
We love manatees.
And that is all for today's video. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure you stay tuned for our next video because we're heading to Animal Kingdom. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and like the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.